I killed Abby and Libby.
No, you didn't.
Tonight, we're learning more about 50-year-old Richard Allen. As Jeff mentioned,
in through the store there and picking up their medication. And
Delphi, Indiana, a small community wrapped in the calm of Midwestern winters, where the most pressing news was usually about high school sports or county fairs. But on the 13th of February, 2017, that quiet broke forever. Two friends, Abby Williams, just 13, and Libby German, 14, set out for a walk along the Monon High Bridge trail. They never came home. When the search began that evening, the community believed they'd find the girls safe. Instead, the next day brought a discovery in the wooded area near the bridge, a scene so grim that even seasoned investigators struggled to describe it. Soon after, police released a grainy image of a man walking toward the girls and a chilling audio clip, a voice saying, "Down the hill." Years passed. Tips poured in, tens of thousands of them. A composite sketch emerged, then another. But the case seemed to stall, turning into one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. Then, in October 2022, a name surfaced, a man who lived just miles away. Someone no one had seriously suspected, Richard Matthew Allen. Before we continue deeper into what prosecutors revealed and what Allen's own wife has now said publicly, for the first time, if you value investigative storytelling that asks hard questions about justice, truth, and human nature, remember to subscribe to Echoes of the Court so you never miss a case that matters. When Richard "Ricky" Allen's name was announced, Delphi froze. He wasn't a stranger, nor some shadowy outsider. He was a CVS pharmacy technician who had filled prescriptions for neighbors, a man who smiled at customers and volunteered for local events. Many knew him. Some even trusted him. Prosecutors said they had evidence placing him at the crime scene that day. Court documents revealed that Allen had admitted, in an initial interview back in 2017, to being on the Monon High Bridge trail the same day Abby and Libby disappeared. At the time, investigators didn't act his name, became just another in a massive pile of leads. But in 2022, a review of old files brought that interview back into focus. A search warrant executed at Allen's home uncovered a gun. Forensic testing linked an unspent bullet found near the girls' bodies to that firearm through a unique ballistic signature. This, combined with witness accounts, formed the backbone of the case against him. In October 2022, Allen was arrested and charged with 2 counts of felony murder. For a town that had lived in fear and uncertainty for nearly 6 years, it felt like justice was finally within reach. Yet, as the case moved forward, it began to twist in unexpected ways, especially when Allen's own defense claimed that he had confessed multiple times under questionable circumstances. The community waited, torn between relief at having someone in custody and doubt about whether the real story had truly been uncovered. While awaiting trial in a maximum security facility, Richard Allen reportedly made multiple incriminating statements to fellow inmates and correctional staff. In these conversations, according to court filings, he allegedly said, "I did it. I killed Abby and Libby." For prosecutors, this seemed like a breakthrough, spontaneous admissions reinforcing the physical evidence. But Allen's defense team pushed back hard. They argued that their client's mental state had deteriorated in the extreme isolation of prison, that he was under severe psychological stress, and that the conditions of his confinement made any so-called confessions unreliable. His attorneys claimed these were not deliberate admissions of guilt, but the desperate words of a man breaking down in custody. They also accused prison officials of leaking selective information to the media, painting Allen as guilty long before the jury could hear the case. This clash over the meaning of Allen's own words became a central battlefront in the courtroom, a war over whether his statements were the final nail in the coffin or a symptom of a system pushing a man toward collapse. It was at this point that an unexpected voice entered the narrative, one that had been silent for years. Kathy Allen, Richard's wife. For more than 5 years, Kathy Allen had remained in the shadows, avoiding the press and shielding herself from the public's fury. But with her husband's trial over and his fate sealed, she agreed to appear in a new Hulu docuseries examining the case. For the first time, the world heard her side. On camera, Kathy described Richard not as a monster, but as a devoted husband and a gentle soul. She recalled shared routines, quiet evenings, and his deep attachment to their family. "He's not the man they say he is," she told the interviewer, her voice trembling. She admitted she was devastated for the victims' families, particularly the mothers of Abby and Libby, but insisted that her husband could not have committed such a crime. When asked about the recorded prison calls in which Richard allegedly confessed, Kathy didn't waver. "He was broken," she said. "He was under pressure I can't even imagine." That wasn't a confession, that was pain talking. She spoke of her hope for a successful appeal, of the life she and Richard had planned to share into old age, and of the day she prays she can see him walk free. Her words reignited fierce debate in Delphi and far beyond. Was she in denial, blinded by love? Or did she see something the justice system had missed? In late 2024, the courtroom in Carroll County was packed wall-to-wall reporters, grieving families, curious locals, and attorneys who had fought bitterly over every shred of evidence. Over weeks of testimony, jurors heard about the bullet tied to Allen's gun, the witness sightings, the chilling audio clip, and the alleged confessions from prison. The prosecution painted Allen as a man hiding in plain sight, living a normal life while carrying a terrible secret. They argued that his own words, combined with the physical evidence, erased all reasonable doubt. The defense countered with an aggressive challenge, attacking the reliability of the ballistic match, questioning the handling of witnesses, and portraying Allen as a victim of a rushed conclusion after years of investigative frustration. But when the verdict came, it was decisive. Richard Allen was found guilty on 2 counts of felony murder. The judge sentenced him to 2 consecutive terms of 65 years, a total of 130 years, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. For Abby and Libby's families, it was a bittersweet moment. Justice served, yet no sentence could restore the lives stolen on that winter day. For Kathy Allen, it was the beginning of a new kind of isolation, living without the man she still called her husband, while the world branded him forever as the Delphi killer. Even with a conviction secured, Delphi has never fully returned to its old rhythms. The Monon High Bridge, once a local landmark, now stands as a somber reminder, a place where flowers, ribbons, and weather-worn photographs are left in quiet tribute. For some residents, Richard Allen's imprisonment closed a chapter. For others, it only deepened the unease. Rumors linger. Some believe the case is not as airtight as the prosecution claimed. Others fear the possibility that Allen did not act alone, or worse, that the wrong man might be behind bars. The defense's talk of an appeal has kept the story alive in the media, and Kathy Allen's public loyalty has added a deeply human layer to the narrative. For Abby and Libby's loved ones, life has become a daily act of balancing grief with remembrance. Their families continue to speak publicly about the girls' laughter, their dreams, and the importance of protecting other children from harm. They also keep pressing for answers to the questions that may never be fully resolved. In Delphi, the murder of 2 young friends is more than a case, it's a wound in the collective memory. And while the law has spoken, the truth, for many, still feels incomplete. Nearly a decade after Abby Williams and Libby German set out for a simple walk, their story remains etched into the soul of Delphi, a reminder that even the smallest towns can hold the darkest tragedies. The official record now says Richard Allen is the man responsible, serving a life sentence that will almost certainly end behind prison walls. Yet the case refuses to rest. For the families of the victims, justice is both a milestone and a burden. They've achieved the conviction they fought for, but the hole left by the girl's absence will never close. For Kathy Allen, the fight is far from over. She continues to stand by her husband, insisting that the system got it wrong and that the man she knows is incapable of what he's accused of. The Hulu docuseries that brought her voice to the public has reignited debate among true crime followers, legal experts, and ordinary citizens alike. Was this justice swift and sure? Or was it a narrative built on circumstantial threads and a broken man's words? The answer depends on who you ask. And so the Monon High Bridge still looms over Delphi, silent but ever present, a place where 2 young lives were taken, a man's future was sealed, and a community learned that closure and truth are not always the same thing. The case of Abby and Libby is over in the court's eyes, but in the court of public opinion, the verdict is still being argued.